Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing well today. In this video, we're going to be covering Ramp Defi. For those of you guys who are used to taking out loans and collateralizing your crypto assets, I'm sure you're fully aware that when you collateralize your asset, you no longer are able to earn a yield on it. Typically with most DeFi and CeFi platforms, either you can earn interest on your asset or you can use it as collateral to borrow, but you can never do both. But with Ramp Defi, not only are you able to auto compound your yield, and in many cases earn a triple-digit yield on your assets, but while you're earning that yield, you can also use it as collateral to borrow even more money. And if you guys watch this video in its entirety, not only will you get an introduction to the platform, but I'll also share some of my strategies to optimize your returns. And while you're watching this video, if you have any questions or inquiries, you can definitely express those in the comment section below, or even better, you can join my private Discord channel. It's a great forum for you guys to learn through dialogue and also connect with like-minded individuals. But if Discord isn't your thing, at the very least, make sure you guys check me out on Twitter. This way you can stay up to date with industry highlights and also learn about projects that I'm using to optimize my crypto returns. Both the links to my Discord channel and my Twitter profile can be found in the description below. With the intro out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this video. Alright, let's get this video kick started by giving you guys a brief introduction to Ramp Defi. When this platform initially launched, they were trying to create a venue for stakeable assets like IOST, Tomo, Tezos, and to incentivize people to deposit their assets on Ramp Defi versus other platforms, they provided additional yield in the Ramp token. However, since then, the platform has evolved a little bit. In fact, I think they've kind of taken a pivot from their original aim. And now it allows you to earn high yields on auto-compounding vaults while simultaneously being able to mint collateralized stablecoins against the deposited assets. For instance, all of these vaults here are earning an auto-compounded yield that's displayed here in APY. So by depositing your LP or your single asset into these pools, not only are you going to be able to earn this yield, but you can also borrow against those assets by using them as collateral. And here's a pretty good overview of how the ecosystem works. So users deposit their assets for yield, which they can use to mint RUSD, and this RUSD can be exchangeable into other stablecoins, which they can then use to earn even more yield. And the fees generated through all of this activity are used to buy and burn Ramp tokens. Here's a list of their ecosystem partners and protocol integrations. You have Tomo Chain, Tezos, Injective, The Graph, Elrond, Solana, and I'm sure many more to come in the future. And all the work that they've done and that they plan to do has attracted a lot of notable investors like Alameda Research, Parify Capital, Arrington XRP Capital, and many of these firms like Parify Capital have been very successful in their early investments in DeFi. For example, I know for a fact that Parify Capital invested in Aave pretty early. And because of the success that they've had, they're going to get more allocations from fund managers that they're going to have to deploy somewhere. And if Ramp Defi delivers on some of the promises that they've outlined in their roadmap, and it becomes a popular venue for market participants, we could potentially see more money flow into the Ramp Defi ecosystem. And typically when DeFi VC wants to invest into DeFi protocols, they end up buying the native token. So in this case, it'd be the Ramp token. And in terms of tokenomics, I don't really see anything very innovative here. A lot of the utility that they added to the token here has been done by other protocols, but nonetheless, I do believe that with all of this that they're heading in the right direction, because without token value accrual mechanisms, investors and other market participants aren't going to have a reason to buy and hold a token. So in Ramp's case, protocol fees that are collected through the provision of auto-compounding vaults, lending, and node operations, all those fees are collected to buy Ramp tokens off the secondary market and burn them. So in theory, as you see more activity on the protocol and the TVL increase, we should also see the price of the Ramp token go up with it. Secondly, you can collateralize your Ramp to borrow RUSD. This way you can earn protocol fees by staking your Ramp tokens, but also have the ability to access the unlocked liquidity. Thirdly, you have value distribution. So by holding the Ramp token, you're able to earn a portion of the protocol fees. The details for governance, just like many other protocols out there, still need to be carved out, but sometime in the future, you're going to have a bigger voice in the protocol depending on how many tokens you own. I don't believe this has been implemented yet, but basically by owning the Ramp token, you'll be eligible for discounts on the platform. And lastly, the token is used to incentivize liquidity provision on the platform. Now, before I go into the strategies, I just wanted to show you guys that you can swap the RUSD that you borrow into BUSD on the platform. You can add liquidity to the BUSD RUSD pool on PancakeSwap through the interface on Ramp Defi. Lastly, they have this cross-chain bridge here that allows you to convert your Ramp from its BEP20 version to its ERC20 equivalent, or vice versa. So with all that being said, let's suppose that you were either bullish on one of these assets, or maybe you were already providing liquidity into one of these pools on PancakeSwap and earning cake tokens, but you were hoping to access that locked liquidity in order to pursue other opportunities. Well, with Ramp DeFi, you can do exactly that. So let's say, for example, you had some cake tokens that were auto compounding. If you wanted to borrow against them, you would have to bring your cake token LP here, make the deposit, and after making your deposit of cake tokens, you can then proceed to borrow against it. And to do that, you click here on Mint RUSD, and here you're going to get a summary of the stake value. So in my case, it's approximately $9,000. And below that, you'll get your collateralization ratio, which is 200%, which basically means that I can borrow 50% of this value here of $8,900. And to the right, you'll get your liquidation ratio of 125%. And then also at the bottom here, you'll get your interest rate on a daily basis. If you multiply this by 365, you get roughly 2 to 3%, which shouldn't be too hard to beat, especially in the DeFi world. You simply click here on Mint RUSD, and you go ahead and select the amount of RUSD that you want to borrow. And you can see here I already used 3,000 of the $452 capacity that I have. Once you receive your RUSD, you can basically exchange it for any other asset that's supported on PancakeSwap. And if you wanted to, if you purchase an asset that's supported by other chains, you could definitely take that money and then pursue yield on other chains. And once you get your RUSD, make sure you guys check what the price of RUSD is before you guys make any sort of exchange. Because whether you trade RUSD for a stable coin or another crypto asset, you're gonna end up getting a little bit less of it. So for example, if I'm trading RUSD for BUSD, I'm getting 97 cents instead of 1 BUSD. But once you have your RUSD, you have a lot of options. For example, if you want to take a more conservative approach, what you could do is sell off half your RUSD for BUSD, provide liquidity using this tab here, and after you deposit your LP position here on this page, you'd be eligible for an APY of 37% paid to you in the Ramp token. The net result being that your cake is going to continue to auto compound. Meanwhile, you're able to borrow additional funds to earn even more money. Instead of just earning a yield on that $8,800, I'm now earning a yield on over $10,000. So obviously that would be more conservative because the borrowed funds are staying in stablecoins. This way, if cake falls in value, it's not going to take much effort on your end to pay back the loan. The medium risk strategy would be to use your RUSD and put your funds into a pair with a stablecoin like UST or BUSD. But if you're open to taking even higher risk, you could put your assets into a pool like NERV BNB. And in that case, you would be exposed to two volatile assets that could potentially appreciate significantly in price, plus you're getting a whopping 513% APY on those assets. Or if I was bullish on cake, I could just use the RUSD, buy more cake, and then deposit it into this vault here. And probably the most riskiest strategy would be to add even more leverage. So for example, let's say I take the money that I borrowed against my cake, I put it into the NERV/BNB pool. I could then proceed to take money out against that position, which would add an additional layer of leverage to my overall position. So in summary, I would collateralize my cake to buy NERV and BNB to provide liquidity to the pool. Then I would use that position as collateral to borrow more money, and then I could invest that elsewhere. But I would be careful about doing something like that because I remember the early users of the Anchor protocol used their Luna as collateral to borrow UST because at that time, the Anchor protocol was paying users to borrow against their B Luna. And because of that, a lot of greedy investors ended up over leveraging themselves. They used that borrowed UST to buy even more Luna, which they could use as collateral to buy even more UST. And during the correction in the last few weeks, when Luna price started to tank, we witnessed a cascade of liquidations. And all the yield that they had earned over the last few months got erased in just a couple weeks. So make sure you guys exercise extreme caution before you guys pursue a strategy like that. But if you're on BSC and you're already in these pools and you're earning this yield on, let's say, PancakeSwap, I think it's a no-brainer to use a protocol like this to safely and responsibly access that locked liquidity to optimize the yields that you're getting on these DeFi protocols. And even if you don't see an asset that appeals to you here, make sure you guys keep an eye on this protocol, because I'm confident that sometime in the future, they're going to be adding more assets and more pools. And after watching this video, if you're wondering what my next move is going to be, you can follow along by becoming a patron. Even if you join the lowest tier I have for $20 a month, you'll get access to all my 5 private Discord channels where I publish my moves in real time. And if you needed further guidance or assistance, or maybe you just want to expedite your learning to fully take advantage of these DeFi protocols, in that case, I would recommend one of my higher tiers that grants you one-on-one access with me. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is CryptoOneStop signing out. I'll talk to you folks next time. Bye.